Welcome to Music City then for the next round of the ERL INDYCAR series. As you can see, the drivers coming across the start-finish line to start the lap around the pace car. As you can see them coming across the line right now. And as for who will be starting this race on pole position, Francis Austin from McLaren in the 23. He will lead us away once the pace car peels into pit row. Then it's Tommy, Milsas Micah, Kwon Todoroki in fourth, followed by Okui, Carson Thornburg, Puff, Elliot Deli, Linus Erickson, and Lil Buns in 10th position. Then it's Ghosted, Niven Colby, Max Bortkar, and the championship leader, Mikion Girovic, the first female driver to lead in the ERL. Then it's Sebastian Messiaen, Lewis Olsen, Salas Kynes, David Kamner, Hexel Mark, Saf San, Enoch and David Securera. So it's Linus Erickson then. His teammate up on the pole, driving car number 23 ahead of the 45 and the 11. Kwon Todoroki. He's had an absolutely stunning past few races driving for Andretti. If there are any drivers, in my opinion, who would likely get the call up to the Formula E series, Kwon has to be one of them. I mean, he's done an amazing job and he just shines on his day. Girovic, obviously, she's leading the championship. She has to be up there. Puff, maybe up for consideration, considering his amazing qualifying talent. As for the rest of the drivers, who knows? I mean, some of them have already participated in Formula E, like Enoch Q, Salas Kynes, David Kamenai, and Elliot Deli. He did have that one race in season 21 after, Bogdasarov's accident, but he has recovered from that, as already mentioned. But as Francis heading towards the final turn, pace car is peeling into the pits. We will get underway here in Music City, looking behind with the 23. Heading on to the main straight then. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys! It's a long main straight before the main opening braking point on the track. Austin, however, still leading from Tommy and Milsas. Kwon Todoroki in the 33. You can see him trying to close in on the Polish driver in front. I think that's Linus Erickson making the move up into 7th, and Elliot Deli ahead of Puff now. Ghosted looking for a way to try and get past us little buns and not quite able to do it. Tommy setting a fastest sexta time. And Enoch Hughes dropped down to 22nd. David Securera up into 20th position after, I believe, winning last time out in Indy. Of course, it's been a long time since I've stepped back into the booth, and these things can slip out of my mind. But everyone's staying single file for now. No one making any moves on the rest of this opener. Tommy with a faster second sector. He's got a very good slipstream to Francis Austin behind. And look at that, Kwon Todoroki drops to 5th. Kui up into 4th position. And in fact, Deli and Puff fighting over 8th. There goes the Scotsman up into 8th position. And in fact, here comes the man from Hong Kong. Fastest lap for Tommy, a 1:15.683. That will currently give him an extra point for that fastest lap, and he'll get 7 more for the race lead. Tommy leads in Music City, Nashville. Trying to close in. Not quite able to do so just yet. Kwon Todoroki losing time to Kui in the 99 on board with the Hyperdrive racing driver. And the Dutchman, of course, he's got a compatriot who shares his race number in the Red Devil in the ERL Formula E series. And you can see him closing in. Carson Thornburg, fastest second sector of anyone. just took a little drink of water. You know, my throat gets a little bit dry. Daffy Circulara, he's always been moving up the field quite quickly. He's up into 17th, but Tommy still leading for now. Here comes Francis Austin in the 23. Fastest lap going to the Hong Kong driver, Thornberg, a 1:15.133. Will Austin try and go down the inside? You know he does, and you know he's still alongside. He's going to need to use push to pass. He is using push to pass, and he is up into the race lead right now, but Tommy's going to have the inside line. He's got no push to pass of either form to use, and he's still able to just send it down the inside in that revolution kill. Austin, however, using the momentum and using his skill to keep the race lead. As Kwon Todoroki's dropped down to 6th, he looks to try and go around the outside on the Chip Ganassi driver, and he's not quite able to do it yet. Is he going to try and make the move into turn number 9? He's going to get pushed to pass, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. On board with Tommy, you can see those softs beginning to blister. Can he recover that and try and go longer than Francis in this race? Well, we'll find out once this race ends. Find out a lot of things once this race ends, especially if you are watching this live. As Austin on the outside, he's not going to get pushed to pass here, but he did have a brilliant run going through, so maybe a little bit of hope there. In fact, Tommy's not even close. He's not going to be able to take anything out of this. Kui up into 3rd, as Kwon Todoroki, he's dropping like a rock. He's down to 6th, possibly even 7th if he's not careful. As we're looking with Milsos, currently in 4th. We've seen new cameras in the Formula E series. You will not see them over here. Thornberg up to 4th position. Massive move from the driver for Chip Ganassi. Dropped something on the ground, so that's why I had to take a quick stop. But Francis Austin's still leading, and he's 2 tenths up on Tommy. Thornberg's the man with the fastest lap. He's the fastest man on the track. He's been setting some pretty quick mini sectors. Fastest mini sectors of anyone, but no fastest outright. As we're on board with Milsos. Look at the state of those softs, though. Tommy's retaking the lead, by the way. Missed that one. Was working on my chair because for whatever reason it's wobbling, but you can see now the Hong Kong man leads here in Nashville under the lights, and side by side they go. Tommy versus Francis with 8 more laps left to run. Can Francis Austin take the lead back? He's gonna do it as Will Bonds comes in with Hector Mark and Lewis Olsen. One of the Hyperdrive drivers had a better qualifying than the other, and I can tell you which one it wasn't. And it's the man who's currently pitted for hard tyres. He's the only man going out there on hard, so he will be able to make it to the end of the race. But the question is, will he have the pace to continue the form that his teammates show him? We'll only find that one out once the race ends. As Kui closing in. Absolutely getting as close as possible. But how close as possible? Well, that's what we're trying to find out here. Kui losing time. Tommy gaining time on Francis and going down the inside on the McLaren man to take the race lead ahead of the number 23, the man who started this race from the front. And of course these guys are going to have to stop soon. A 35% worn tyre is not a tyre that anyone wants to stay on. As Kui takes the lead! Oh, Kui to the race lead! He caught the 2 napping! In comes Kui and Tommy, and a whole arcade's worth of drivers as well. As we're at half race distance, Kwon Todoroki's up into 2nd, making sure that those mediums can make it to at least half race distance, so if you were to pit onto them, you can make it to the end. Tommy's onto the hards. Milsos Mike is onto the hards. Carson Thornberg is onto the hards. How many drivers are going to go for the slowest compound of tyre just so they can make it to the end comfortably? Well, Kamino's going on to another set of softs, so it's obviously not going to be him. And in fact, you can see that's Olsen gaining some ground on the drivers around him. He's going to need that type of movement through the field if he is to get any good result today. Delhi having to defend from Colby Isakirara and championship leader Mikion Gurovich, who herself is trying to make her way through the field, and you know what? She's up into third position as Kwon Todoroki takes the race lead in car number 33 ahead of the 23. Delhi getting past Girovich there, and in fact Colby and Turquero not too far behind, but Francis Austin, his stranglehold on the race lead for now has been lost as Kwon will start lap 8. They're going to go so long down at Andretti, it's going to be shocking. Delhi's going to move up in second. As you can see, the rest of the soft tyre guys, the rest of the guys who started this race on the softs coming in, Ghosted coming in too. 34% tyre wear for Elliot Delhi, 32% for Kwon Todoroki there. So he's struggling like hell, and Kui is the man to watch. Behind him, Lil Buns and Linus Eriksson. Those are the guys who have currently got the net top 3. Francis Austin, not even in the net top 5. And you know what? If you're down at Andretti, you are hoping and wishing for a full course yellow, but those are few and far between at this configuration here in Music City. And if you are new to this channel, then hitting that red button, the subscribe button, to never miss another ERL race, whether that be Formula E or INDYCAR, or possibly even Formula G if Formula Car Race 2025 is as good as everyone says it will be, as well as the future ERL World 500 and ERL Race of Champions later on this year. That's what you gotta do. Just subscribe, hit the notification bell, just do the YouTuber stuff, and I'll leave you alone as we're watching Max Sportcar fighting over the top getting into 9th position, rather, trying to get some words out as Kwon's in, Delhi's in, Kui will take the lead for Hyperdrive Racing with Lil Buns on his tail and Linus Eriksson for company. And the guys who are currently leading, I believe, should be able to make it to the end of this race. Kwon's going to have the freshest, fastest tyres of anyone, 100% soft, but he's going to be outside of the points. In fact, he's down in... Oh, that's not good at all. Yellow's in the opener. Yellow's in the opening sector. Full course yellow. Puff is upside down. It's an upside down Puff. Salas Kynes got a 5-second time penalty. And that's the first retirement of the day. And it's the Scotsman. Oh dear. Colby seemingly losing some time. And yeah, damage for Salos, nothing on the front wing. Also damage for Lewis Olsen. Full course yellow is ending as Kui still leads in Nashville. We're back underway in the Music City Grand Prix, rather. Trying to remember that this isn't Formula E. Still in the ERL, however. On board with Linus Eriksson, trying to get himself further up the podium and try and get some better points for his team at McLaren. Those medium tyres do seem to be working well for him, and we do expect him to go to the end of this race on them. And this man, Kwon Todoroki, he's hoping to try and make his way through the field like a hot knife through butter. 1,000-degree knife versus ERL field. And in fact, that's front wing damage for David Camino. Damage for Camino. He's staying out though. He's got a lot less drag. He's got a lot more drag. No, he's got less drag, but also less downforce, which is going to be a problem, especially around here when there are a lot of turns. They'll really challenge your car if you don't have the downforce to make it through. Girovich looking for a way to get past both Power Motorsports men. He's going to be able to get past one of them, but can he do both? He's gone past both of them. Girovich up into 13th position in the 35. As Lewis Olsen in the 95, right on the tail of O'Quee. If these guys end up fighting for the lead, oh my goodness, we're gonna have another show-stopping finish. Lil Buns and Linus Eriksson trying to bring the show back to them, fighting over 2nd position. They're side by side with 4 laps to go. It'll quickly become 3 as Linus, the Swede, up into 8th position. As Lil Buns in the 5. Can he close in? I don't think he can. Don't know if he's got the pace to do so, and he doesn't. It's not quite close enough yet. He's going to get pushed apart, however, going on the main straight. Lap 11 of 14. Kui leads from Eriksson and Lil Buns. Now, O'Quee, never really noticed that guy too much. If he's there, then he's there. As Hexel Mark comes in for his 2nd stop. But if Prix isn't there, then he isn't, and you just don't notice it. Another set of softs for Hexel. I think that's 3 softs used in a row. As Austin, he's up in 4th right now, ahead of some hard tire guys, and honestly, not too much to say about the performance of the hard tires. It's performing exactly as the teams and drivers would have expected them to. But look at the state of Lil Buns' mediums. He's certainly going to start losing pace, and in fact, I'm going to say the same for most of the pack here, as Camino, he came out of the pits on mediums. He did pit, thankfully for the guys down at Power, as here comes Quan, trying to take 12th away from Sebastian Messian. He's up into 12th position. Sebastian Messian, and in fact, Prema Power Team in general, they haven't really had the best first season in the ERL, as Mikyon Girovic finds her way up into the points paying positions for the championship leader. Every point matters down at Dragon Penske. He will just become straight up Dragon next season. As Ericsson defending from Lil Buns, and Qui's come in. Another set of soft tyres for Qui. Linus Eriksson leads for Sweden, but will the Ukrainian usurp that? Down the inside goes Lil Buns, and the entirety of Ukraine roars. Lil Buns leads in Music City. And in fact, is that Francis Austin to P2? That is Francis Austin to P2 with 2 laps to go. And that's Linus Eriksson going from the race lead to hanging on to the podium by the skin of his teeth in only a matter of turns in a single straight. My goodness me, that's how quickly things change. And in fact, Carson Thornburg trying to go around the outside. He's got Mikyon Girovic as well. Milsos Micah, rather, for company. Girovic, of course, G-U-R. Mikyon, and also being spelled M-I-U. And in fact, 6 thousandths of a second for the lead. Side-by-side tussle between the American and Ukrainian drivers. I'm trying to keep everything as composed as possible. But in the dying stages of this race here in Nashville, the Music City Grand Prix throws another spanner in the works. We've got an all-out war for the lead. 5 drivers separated by 1.3 seconds. As the championship leader in Mikyon Girovic is outside of the points in 11th. Francis Austin leads, Lil Bun second, Carson Thornburg in third from Milsos Micah and Linus Eriksson, who were oh so close to contact there. Davis Circurera in 6th from Tommy and Max Bortkar. Then it's Quan Sodoroki, Elliot Deli, Mikyon Girovic, Niven Colby, and Qui the top 13. And in fact, Austin is broken away 8 tenths of a second ahead of Lil Buns on the penultimate lap, as Milsos, the Polish driver at the tail end of this gaggle, strangling each other for the race lead. Look at that from Thornburg up into second. He's going to get pushed to pass, and in fact, Avi Circurera going to try and close in to this fight for the lead if he can, if he's got the time to, because that race lead that Francis Austin has right now, seemingly insurmountable. 1.47 seconds. It's wild to think that he took the lead by 6 thousandths, just a few laps to go. And in fact, that's his teammate Linus Eriksson trying to make it a McLaren 1-2. Linus has gone on record saying, and I quote, "Remember when McLaren were the class of the field in testing? State Farm does," or something like that. As we're on to the final lap. Can Eriksson take the podium, as both Andretti's are now in the points? Milsos up in third right now. Lil Buns in the wall! Oh no! 1 million more Ukrainian hearts sink. Full course caution on the final lap. We're going to get only a handful more turns of racing for the lead. That's for sure. Girovic, however, probably going to enjoy that one a little more, because she's now into the points. Full course yellow is ending. Francis Austin is bolted. 1.7 seconds, 1.6 seconds. The Thornburg for Milsos, it's not possible. They cannot take the lead. It's going to go to the American in the ERL INDYCAR Series 2.2. This is going to be one of the biggest winning margins around a circuit like this. As you can see, Circulera fighting with Ericsson over 4th. Can he do it? We'll see that on the line. For this man, he's taking it. Francis Austin is going to win the Grand Prix of Music City from countryman Carson Thornburg and Milsos Micah of Poland. Davy Circulera for 4th, ahead of Linus Eriksson and Tommy. Then it's Kwon Todoroki, Elliot Daly, Max Bortkar, and Mikhail Gurovich. Then it's O'Queen, Niven Colby, Ghosted, and Hexel Mark fighting for 13th. Look at that gap, only about a 10th of a second. Then it's Sav San, Lewis Olsen, Sebastian Messian, David Camino, Enoch Q, and Salos Kynes. And yeah, it's been a race of racing mainly. Puff landed on his roll hoop earlier on, of course, but this is the podium. Francis Austin from Carson Thornburg and Milsos Micah, the top 3 sharing the podium here in Nashville, Tennessee. Then it's Davy Circulera, rather. Linus Eriksson, Tommy, Kwon Todoroki, Elliot Daly, Max Bortkar, and Mikhail Gurovich. The point scorers, with the non-scorers being O'Queen, Niven Colby, Ghosted, Hexel Mark, Saf San, Lewis Olsen, Sebastian Messian, David Camino, and Enoch and Salas Kynes, with the non-finishers being Lil Bond and Puff. In the drivers' standings, Carson Thornburg leads on 79 points ahead of Mikhail Gurovich and Kwon Todoroki. Then it's Elliot Daly, Niven Colby, Davy Circulera, Lil Bonds is behind Linus Eriksson after crashing out of that race. Then it's Francis Austin, Milsos Micah, Salas Kynes, Lewis Olsen, Puff, O'Queen, Saf San, Ghosted, Max Bortkar, Tommy, Enoch Q, David Camino, Hexel Mark, and Sebastian Messian. In the constructors' standings heading into the next round of the championship, well, Chip Ganassi leads from a tie for second between Newman Haas and Dragon Penske, and I believe, if we can take a look at the drivers' standings right now, yeah, that's just a difference of points, between the drivers. Then it's Sims Motorsport, McLaren, Andretti, Hyperdrive Racing, Apex Pinnacle, Prema Power Team, Power Motorsports, and Revolution Racing. We'll see you guys next time then when the ERL returns in Istanbul for the Formula E Series.